All right, let's dive into one of the most counterintuitive, just radical ideas in modern soccer. It's a strategy that completely ignores the first rule you ever learn as a kid: use the whole field. It's called tilting, and it's not about occupying space, it's about learning how to bend it.
So, think about it. You've got this massive field, right? For 100 years, the goal was simple: stretch the other team out, make them run. But tilting just throws that whole playbook in the trash. It asks this insane question: what if we cram almost our entire team into one tiny corner of the pitch? I mean, it looks like a recipe for disaster, but it might just be genius.
And this one quote just nails it. This isn't about X's and O's on a tactic board anymore. We're talking about using the team's collective weight, its own gravity, to literally warp the geometry of the game. Seriously, this is less about formations and more about physics.
Okay, so how in the world do you bend space on a soccer field? Well, it all starts with creating a gravitational pull so strong it just sucks the entire game into its orbit.
It all comes down to this idea called relational superiority. You pack your players so incredibly close together, we're talking less than 5 meters apart, that their passes become almost instantaneous. These little 1-2s, these triangles, they happen so fast that a defender's brain literally can't keep up. You're moving the ball faster than they can think.
So yeah, forget about playing across the whole field. The idea here is to create these little high-speed hotspots. They just pop into existence, totally overwhelm defenders in a blur of motion, and then they're gone. It is an incredibly efficient, almost unstoppable way to attack.
All right, so we've overloaded one side of the field, but what about that huge empty space we've left on the other side? I mean, isn't that a massive weakness just waiting to be exploited? Nope. That's the trap.
And when you look at the data, the trade-off is just wild. In that overloaded zone, the attacking team has something like 80% control. It's their world. But on the other side, they actually have a negative control value. On paper, this looks like a fatal flaw.
But here's the brilliant twist. That gaping hole on the far side of the field isn't a mistake. It is the entire point. That empty space is what we call an intentional void. It's a carefully laid trap. And here's how the trap springs. Step 1, you attract them. That gravitational pull from the overload sucks the entire defense towards the ball. They just can't help it. Step 2, the laser pass. A long, perfect diagonal ball is fired across the field to a single attacker waiting in all that empty space. And step 3, checkmate. Your best attacker is now one-on-one with a defender with acres of green grass around them. It's pretty much game over. But you know, the real genius of tilting isn't just about the attack. This is where it goes from a clever tactic to something truly revolutionary. This incredibly aggressive offensive shape is also one of the best defensive systems ever created. And this is the question on everyone's mind, right? If you've got 8 players crammed on one side of the field and you lose the ball, aren't you just completely, totally exposed? It seems like common sense, but the reality is the exact opposite. The answer is this amazing concept called rest defense. It means your team is already in its perfect defensive formation while it has the ball. Because all your players are already packed so tightly together, the second you lose possession, you have overwhelming numbers right there ready to instantly win it back. And the numbers on this are, well, they're just staggering. Just look at this number for a second. 78%. That's how often a team like Manchester City wins the ball back within 5 seconds of losing it in that overloaded zone. The pressure is so suffocating, so immediate, that the opponent doesn't even have time to look up, let alone try to switch the play to that empty space. And get this, the data shows that elite teams using this system can reorganize and swarm the ball in under 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. That's not just pressure, that's total suffocation. Coach Jesse Marsh has the perfect analogy for this. He calls it a human net. When an opponent gets the ball inside that dense cluster of players, they aren't free. No, they're instantly trapped inside a net, with 6 or 7 players swarming them from every possible angle. There's just nowhere to go. So what you're really seeing is defense transforming from a set of individual actions into this proactive, collective movement. It's almost like a biological organism. I mean, this fundamentally changes the whole idea of what it means to defend. Classic defense is all about reacting. You drop back, you cover zones, you retreat to protect your goal. Tilting defense is proactive.
You swarm forward, you saturate the area around the ball, you force the opponent into a trap, and you actually defend by moving forward. So how does it actually work in practice? The whole team squeezes itself into this tight 25-meter block. They force the play towards the sideline, and suddenly the touchline itself acts like an extra defender, boxing the opponent in. It's really like a flock of birds or a school of fish. Each player follows a few simple rules: stay close, face the ball, and the result is this complex, synchronized group movement that seems to have a mind of its own.
So, where does this all go? I mean, what happens when you push the logic of tilting to its absolute most insane extreme? Well, you get to the final frontier of modern soccer tactics. The ultimate tilt. This is what happens when the very last line of defense, the one player who is supposed to stay put, decides to abandon the goal and join the attack.
We're now seeing the rise of the sweeper playmaker. These are goalkeepers who are playing near the center circle, acting as a pressure release valve to keep the team's tilt alive. They're not just shot stoppers anymore. They're the deepest lying playmaker on the entire field. It's wild.
And this quote just captures the result perfectly. You have 10 players tilted to one side, a keeper in midfield, all the old lines are just gone. The other team is facing this fluid, total system where attack and defense have become the exact same thing.
In the end, tilting isn't just a formation, is it? It's a whole new philosophy of space. It proves that having total control over a tiny little zone is way more powerful than having partial control over the whole field. Which leaves us with this really fascinating question. If a rule as basic as use the width of the field can be broken this successfully, what fundamental rule of the game is going to be the next to go?